So here we are in London with this Joe Payne talking about That Joe Payne. Joe, how are you?
Very well, thank you, Andy. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. And the reason we're here is What Is the World Coming To? This is a new EP that's actually already out last Friday on the 26th of October.
26th of October, that's right, yeah.
And this is the first EP since your debut solo EP as That Joe Payne that came out in early March.
Yeah.
Which is called I Need a Change.
I Need a Change.
So, you said you needed a change. Has that change happened? Tell us what's been going on.
I think when I released that first record, I was still really in recovery from the breakdown that I'd had nearly 2 years before. I'd had this breakdown back in April 2016. April 2016.
Wow.
And every step you take with your recovery, you think, no, okay, I'm feeling there now. I'm feeling a bit more confident. I'm feeling like I can achieve more. But every step you take, you go, wow, I've gone further, and you realise actually what you thought back then, you had no idea how much further you had to go. So this is now where I am. The What Is the World Coming To EP is a real progression for me and my mood, really. So I Need a Change was it was about depression, it was about feeling like I didn't fit in anywhere and that I was alone, and just trying to cry for help with it. And then we're talking 7 months later, and here I am now feeling like the most confident I've ever felt, probably to the point where I'm actually a bit afraid of myself, a bit scared of myself, because I'm just going in fearlessly with everything I'm doing. And What Is the World Coming To is that it's sort of going, okay, there are dangers in the world, there are things that frighten us, but I'm just going to try and not give a shit, because I need to not let anything stand in my way anymore. So it's a real kind of, for me, it's quite a it's a statement. It's a finger up at the things that get between me and my dreams and my success and just my happiness.
And the EP artwork is quite striking. It shows you as this warrior with a giant sword ready to go out and do battle. Is that how you feel now?
It is. Yeah. I do feel like I'm a warrior for my cause now, and I also really wanted to translate through this artwork the identity that I have. I think I've always tried to kind of stage myself in a way that I think is going to maybe appeal more to the audience that I think I have, or thought I had, I held back a lot with that. I really reined myself in, dressed a certain way, presented myself so as not to cause any kind of controversy within my audience. But actually, now I'm just no, you know what, I am quite a colourful person on the inside, and I need to start reflecting that more. And it's just something that I needed to do. I needed to just say, right, I am going to be a warrior for my cause. I'm going to just embrace my sexuality for the first time ever. It's just something I've never done before. And also go for an image that doesn't really fit with the genre that I've been associated with for a very long time, which is the prog scene. Moving away from all that kind of fantasy-inspired, rock-inspired kind of idea that seems to be in everything that everyone else is doing. Actually, I was a pop artist before all of this happened. I don't know how I ended up becoming a progressive artist, but I guess it was because of my love of classical music, and how I always wanted to infuse that with my pop roots. And so now I'm going, okay, well, I'm not really a progressive rock artist, maybe I'm a progressive pop artist, and here's my new sound, and here's just the kind of braver image that is going to go with that.
So the people that follow you for the 5 years you were in the Enid, starting I guess from the Invicta period, how would you describe your music now? For those people that sort of love your voice and love the contribution you made to that band, what have they got to sort of grasp hold of and enjoy on this new EP?
I think melodically, everything I'm doing now is just as strong, and harmonically, it's really not that different either. Like, I am still so in love with modulation and complex harmonic sequences, and like that for me is what gives music the element that's going to make you react emotionally. It's that thing that's going to lift you or make you want to cry or just send that wave of tingle that we all feel, you know. And so all those elements are still there. Well, the thing that's changed really is that I'm not needing to make room for other people in the music anymore. So like, whereas when you're in a band, you're having to think about like, okay, let's make room for the guitar to have its moment, and let's make room for the keyboardist to have its moment, and like, you know, you're trying to satisfy a lot of people's, not necessarily egos, but you know, just like everyone has a need to be acknowledged in the music, don't they? So I'm not having to think about that when I'm constructing a piece, which means that the pieces aren't as drawn out as they might have been before. I haven't written anything that's more than 10 minutes yet. And yeah, I just think that it's way more refined. It's much more like how you'd expect a pop song structure to be, and my biggest desire of all is that people might come to my gig one day and be able to sing along word for word, because it's going to be catchy as fuck.
So That Joe Payne is a solo endeavour, and you are the front man. Does that place more pressure on you in terms of your responsibility for the music, the arrangement, the compositions?
I had to work really hard in the year building up to my first release. I spent every day on the piano, practicing my keyboard skills. I read every book there was on music theory so that I knew that I was doing exactly what I could to just be like, have just like an educated approach to my composition and my arrangements. And it really paid off to do that, because before, like, I was a songwriter, but I couldn't have said I was a composer. And my work with the Enid, like, I went into it quite naively. I did write a lot of the material, but it was collaborative work, so I would hand over like what might have been quite a basic idea, or like or quite a simplified song, and then, you know, the guys like Robert in particular would get into that, tear it to pieces, and like sew it all back together again in this, like, to be this glorious thing, which, like, the music was like, I have absolutely every belief that everything I ever did with the Enid was fantastic for the way that it was made, with the people it was made with, and I learned so much from that, and it really set the standard for me, so that I knew, right, I need to meet that. And that's why I'm saying I spent so long educating myself during my break from music, because I knew there was so much I needed to learn before I could even consider approaching something on my own.
And talking of the classical side, and I guess that Robert was a kind of an influence that coming into your solo project, you've got a track called Moonlit Love, which is based on Moonlight Sonata, Beethoven.
That's right, yeah.
So talk to us about the choice of the track and what you did with it. Okay,
so Moonlight Sonata was a song that I'd played it to death when I was a teenager, and like ever since ever since I kind of left school, really, I never had much of an incentive to play the piano anymore, because all anyone wanted from me was to sing. So I probably went about 10 years without even touching a keyboard.
Yeah.
More or less. Like I dabbled a bit, but it really became out of my comfort zone. So I thought, okay, there's something that deep down inside my memory, I've still got a bit of muscle memory for. I just need to revive that.
Yeah.
And that's going to be my first step to just getting used to playing the piano again, getting used to play the keyboards again. So I did that first, and then I thought, right, okay, I need to start writing my own music now. But I was really nervous about doing it because I'd never created anything completely on my own before.
Yeah.
I was very, very self-conscious about it all, worried that people were going to criticise every little thing I did, and I just didn't believe I was quite ready to do something completely on my own. So I decided to do that reworking of Moonlight Sonata, which is now Moonlit Love, as a stepping stone for me to like practice what I'd learnt about string arrangements and choir arrangements, and to really like study and break down how Beethoven uses harmonic sequences to get the modulations that he wants, and what effect those modulations have and what those cadences have.
Yeah.
And like it was a really good kind of study piece for me, really, and it just worked out so well. And I just thought, well, fantastic! Like, look at what that's done for me, because then I was able to approach I Need a Change with a whole new belief in myself, you know.
And I also noticed that you continued the theme of looking at classic music and then turning it around with a Henry Purcell piece of music,
Yeah.
second track. So music for a while, I think, is what you call it.
That's right.
So
Yeah,
you didn't quite leave that behind.
No, so I thought, right, okay, there's a bit of a theme here, because I love doing it so much, and I had thought about doing this ages ago with music for a while, and the reason I left it off the first EP was because the original version of it that I'd worked with, I'd kept it kind of in a similar vein as Moonlit Love, really. Like, it was just for piano and strings, with vocal on top, and I was originally going to do it countertenor because the original piece is usually interpreted as a countertenor piece with countertenor and harpsichord, countertenor and cello. And so I thought, right, okay, this isn't working for me because it's just dull. I just felt it was so dull. And so I thought, you know what? No, I'm feeling ready to take some risks now. And I mean, I posted on all my social media, like, guys, get ready. I'm doing something that I think the haters are really going to hate. As it happens, I've not had anyone commenting negatively on it yet, which is fantastic. So it was a risk worth taking, apparently. But yeah, I thought, no, I'm going to get really poppy with this. I really wanted to embrace my kind of turn of the century pop R&B influences. So, like, when I originally demoed it, it sounded almost like a early Destiny's Child track, where you had like the really baroque influences with the harpsichord sort of like featuring, but it's all got that dancey beat. And so, and like the sub bass, you want to hear it in a club, and even like the vocal style, going for something that's very dynamic, but also has a lot of runs, and just that pop style that I've always feared of doing in case people are going to react badly to it, you know. So yeah, like, I was like, okay, my safety net is that people enjoy the classical crossover stuff for me. The risk here is that I am really going more poppy with it, but it's the direction I want to go in, so I had to do it, otherwise I was never going to know.
So 2 EPs.
I don't know, have I answered your question?
Absolutely you have. So 2 EPs, first one was in March, and then the latest one, end of October. So the clear question is, well, there must be an album in That Joe Payne.
There is,
well,
there's an album coming, there's an album coming. I don't want to reveal the name of it yet. I am planning to spend pretty well all of January and February next year on it. So I've just got to get Christmas out of the way. I've got loads of shows and magic shows and other things that I'm just going to be busy with between now and then. But yeah, like in the new year, I'm just gonna really like crack down and work on this album, and I'd love to have it ready for maybe autumn next year. That would be ideal. Yeah. Because I'd like to get it done in time to have a really good build up to it, and really start teasing people with it properly, with it all finished and like, you know, tucked away. So they know it's there, but they can't have it yet, you know.
So do you have kind of in your mind a vision for what it's going to be? Is it going to be a logical segue to the EPs? Are the tracks on the EPs going to be included?
So the main tracks on the EPs are going to be included in this album. So I Need a Change is part of this album, and What Is the World Coming To is part of this album. Moonlit, Love and Music for a While, they're not part of the album because they were always intended as B-side tracks. Yeah. So they don't belong in the album. They're not as much an expression of me as everything else is. And I think it's very important that with my first album, it really does all come from me. But yeah, the album's going to be built up of songs that are entirely influenced by my experience with depression and anxiety, which I don't suffer with as much these days. I've really, you know, gotten back into a good place now with my mental health. But like I lived with it for long enough to come up with an album's worth of songs. And so yeah, so that's going to be coming in the new year. I think I might have to release just one more EP between now and then, just because I want to keep feeding out some new music. I want people to like keep getting another little taste and getting more and more excited about it.
And in terms of getting That Joe Payne and the music out there, you've got a couple of shows coming up in conjunction with Simon Blake's House of Magic, show on the Friday the 9th and Saturday the 10th of November. How did you get to hook up with Simon Blake? And
Simon Drake is the Simon Drake. I mean, he's really famous for his work on a TV show called The Secret Cabaret, which was just an amazing show on Channel 4 back when I was a baby. It was 89 and 1990 that show was up. He did 2 seasons of it, and after doing a bit of touring, he also toured with Kate Bush back in the 70s. He was a co-star and producer for her Tour of Life, and then later on he did a tour with Maiden and staged one of their big tours where like he was like chopping off the singer's head and making it sing, or chopping off the guitarist's hands and doing a guitar solo with them, you know, stuff like that. And like he's done some really, really cool projects in his lifetime, and one day he decided he was just going to settle down in London, buy his own venue, and he's been doing just private shows there ever since. So we hooked up because he was a bit of a fan of the Enid. Like from way back in the day, there was like a bunch of songs that he used to incorporate into his shows because they're instrumental, and they were very like scene setting, and so he would throw those songs into his shows and do his tricks to that music. The funny thing is when I first joined the band and he'd heard the Enid had a singer, he went, "Oh, what is this? No, go away, stop ruining it for me," you know, like a lot of people did. And he hadn't even given me a chance, hadn't even listened to it. And then one day it just sort of popped up for him as like a recommended thing, listen to this. So he did. And he got straight in touch with me, I think on Facebook, I think it was. He got in touch with me and said, "Hey dude, like, loving the music, loving your voice. If there's anything I can do to help direct you with your like stage persona, I'm willing to help. And he did, and he helped direct and transform me from being someone that was just didn't have a clue how to present themselves on stage. Like I would just be like all over the place. Like I knew how to sing, I didn't know how to stand in a way that was graceful, you know.
Yeah.
Little things like that, like, you know, that just make it far more attractive to watch for the audience. And he really, really tidied up my on-stage work. And that coincided with me wanting to take the shows in a more theatrical direction. So I said, okay, not only do I need your help to stop me from just looking like an idiot all the time, but also I'm going to be doing some stuff with visuals. I want to do some interactive stuff, and yeah, again, like he would watch every show we did and give me feedback, and we would do it over Skype, and we'd be on Skype like 3 hours a night every night, going through like how we could improve stuff, like just directing the shows from afar. And he just did a really great job with us for that, and like he was just what I needed to refine me at the time. And we've stayed really great friends ever since. And like during my time out of music, that's when he first hired me to come and work for him at his House of Magic. So I started doing his productions with him. I became his assistant. You won't know it's me if you come to one of his shows though, because I have to wear a mask. But that was really good for me, getting used to being on stage again. Yeah, like that turned into one day he just goes, you know what, if you'd like to do some shows here, he doesn't normally invite people to do external events at the House of Magic. They're normally private, they're normally his show. So to be offered that opportunity to perform in his venue and have the opportunity to use some of the facilities that are on offer there that you won't find anywhere else. I've been able to put together a really unique concept piece for all these shows that if you miss it, you've missed it, and you'll never get to see it again anywhere else.
It sounds great. So I guess two things is that from what I read, that it's a secret location and you only find out if you buy a ticket.
That's right. Yeah.
So if anyone wants to come, it's in London somewhere.
Yeah. Secret location, somewhere near the centre of London. Very easy to get to once you know where it is. Promise.
And that's the first thing. The second thing is you've done, apart from the shows you did earlier in the year, most of what you've done recently has been acoustic, but this is a band show. Yeah. So talk to me about who's in the band, who you've got playing.
I have, like, it's almost a super group. Like, well, like if you could have a super group of people of my generation, which like there's not really a lot of us doing prog music, let's face it. So
Beyonce?
So Beyonce's in the band. Yeah. So I got Murray McDonald on keyboards, and he's been in loads of prog bands such as Crimson Sky, Ghost Community, many others as well. Like I've got them all written down somewhere, but I can't remember like them off the top of my head. And then on guitar, I've got a guy called Oliver Day, who also plays guitar for the UK's leading Yes tribute band Fragile. And he just supported Yes at the Palladium, I think it was.
Oh, really?
Just recently, yeah. Yeah, so he...
I'm seeing Steve Howe this evening, actually.
Oh, really? Oh, cool. Well, he might remember Oliver, so, yeah, put in a good word for us. And, yeah, like, so he's doing that, and they're great. And so when it came to me looking for a guitarist, I really wanted to play some of the old Enid songs, build some of those into the set. Finding a guitarist that you know can cope with the stuff that's written for the Enid isn't easy, because it's very demanding. Like it's very chromatic. Like a lot of guitarists won't be expected to play in that way, and use the guitar more like as if it's a voice, really. So I needed someone who could really pull it off. I wanted to try and put together a band where we felt all around the same age as well. So everyone's sort of in their mid to late 20s, which I like. Just not because I'm ageist, just because I've worked in collectives my whole life where there's been like big age divides, and like it can just be complicated for it, you know. So we're all on the same page, like we're all coming from the same place. We're all like just starting out with music and wanting it to be our careers, and like allowing the opportunity for it to be, you know. So he's on guitar. I've got Josh Judd on drums and Nick Willis on bass, and both of those guys used to play in the Enid with me back in the day as well. So half of my band is ex-Enid. Well, more than half of the band is ex-Enid if you include me in that as well.
Yes.
But none of us ever played together at the same time, so it's nice.
So here's the thing, Robert John Godrey, has he heard any of this new music? Are you still in touch with him?
I do see him still from time to time. He still works at the studio with Max, so Max, my partner, runs the Lodge Recording Studio. Robert lives there. I still do all of my work at the Lodge. Also, if I want to see Max, then I have to go there to see him. I'm not going to lie, I used to find it very difficult to speak to Robert. Like, we didn't end on good terms at all. I'm not going to beat around the bush about it. I'm also not going to go into too much detail.
Of course.
But, you know, these days I'm finding it easier to just forgive and forget. I've moved on. I've got so much to be positive about now. Like, I'm producing music that people are responding positively to. I know where I stand with my fan base and my following, and I just don't have time for like procrastinating on negative things. Like, you know, forget about it. Like it's nearly 3 years ago now, and like I've got a great life, and I'm just going to enjoy it.
Joe, it's been absolutely wonderful talking to you, and to remind everyone, What is the World Coming To again is already out, 26th of October, and the gigs at a secret location, and they go through the website, I guess, to book tickets. 9th
right.
and the 10th of November.
9th and 10th of November.
Soon.
Yeah, please come and see not only some music, but some magic, some illusions, some like interactive visuals. Typical me doing what I love to do and putting on a show.
That's fantastic. So, thanks again, Joe, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.
Thank you.